Ladies and gentlemen, the drippiest drip king of the Dragon Ball universe is here. Nah, I'm not talking about the denim crop top prince of a prince. I'm talking about the steel toe wearing, Gucci belt flaring, holster strap orange as the new black, blue eyes five head king himself, Super 17. What's going on, folks? KC here, and welcome back to the channel. Now, if this is your first video, again, welcome. And if you've been here before, you know the drill, so what up, oos? We're on the road to 2K subs, so don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, or both. If you don't, I'ma have 17 pull the strap out on you. Say what you will, but one thing that Dragon Ball GT got right was character design. Mostly. That being said, I don't know how it makes any sense, but Super 17 is the fusion between Dr. Gero's original Android 17 and Dr. Mew's Android 17, both of whom look exactly the same. But when they fuse together, they make a taller version of himself who has the absorbing power of Android 19. What? Now, I remember how he was formed, and I remember how he was defeated. Don't ask me about anything in between, because I don't know. Which is kind of how I feel about GT as a whole. What I do know though is that Super 17's design was goated, and I think SHFiguarts did a great job translating that into figure form. Which is great because they'll never make another one ever again. So it's nice that we got this guy. His design hits, he's got some cool accessories, he's tall enough-ish, and he may just be SHFiguarts' most articulated Dragon Ball figure to date. No cap. Now that we got the build up out the way, let's take a closer look. The details on Super 17 are phenomenal, and the paint job and opposing finishes really help to bring out the contrast of this premium Bandai exclusive. The matte finish of the perfectly folded orange ascot that sit on top of his slightly wrinkled shirt, tucked into those denim skinny jeans, all of it looks super nice. Contrast that with the gold accents from the gauntlets, the straps from the holsters, and his red ribbon belt buckle, and that takes it to the next level. Add in the gloss finish to his boots to give him that leather look and shine, and it all comes together like butter on toast. His jeans even have an acid wash to them. Now, I'm still not sure how he ended up with a damaged belt buckle and ripping his jeans fresh off of transformation, but semantics. So yeah, the details are strong here. A 5 out of 5 for me. When it comes to capturing how Super 17 looked on screen in figure form, SHFiguarts did a great job. Next up, the accessories. Super 17 comes with a lot of accessories, the biggest one punctuating his downfall. But nonetheless, let's take a look at them. For starters, 17 comes with 4 pairs of hands. He's got a pair of mink minks, a pair of gesturing hands, and 2 pairs of wide spread hands. A pair that shows his absorbing gems, and a pair with ports in them to slot in one of the 2 pegs he comes with, one straight and one angled, both of which attach to his Electro Eclipse Bomb effect. And that effect piece has sculpting on the inside that simulates electricity. Nice little touch. Just be careful when you handle those peg pieces, cause one wrong flick and it'll be lost to the carpet monsters. The back of 17's hair is articulated and interchangeable, and while the one he comes with in box is a little more straight, his alternate piece has a windswept vibe to it that flares out. Don't think it's necessary, and it just adds more small pieces to keep track of, but it's there. 17 also comes with 4 face pleats. One stern, one sinister, one smirking, and one yelling. So he covers all the emotions. You sexy man, you. And lastly, much like most other figures in the GT line, 17 comes with some DLC for Kid Goku. He comes with a yelling head with windswept hair and a golden dragon cutout to replicate Goku's Dragon Fist. You know, the very move that ended 17's whole career. Now, unfortunately, the faceplate is not removable, which feels like a missed opportunity. And the little cutout is nice, but it kind of feels a little cheap. So accessories get a 4 out of 5. They allow him to duplicate everything he did during his short reign of terror, and the add-ons for Goku are a nice little touch too. But I think his windswept hair pieces are super unnecessary. I would have rather had a head sculpt with his hair fully down to replicate his appearance when he first fused. And I know that would have made the head virtually impossible to move, but to me, being able to capture a character's first appearance is super important. Now, let's move on to talk articulation. Now, I said in the intro that this might be Figuarts' most articulated Dragon Ball figure. And I meant that. Now, I'm not the articulation guy on POAs mean absolutely nothing if 17 can't do what he do. And he can do that, and then some. Starting at the head though, and there's full rotation, swivel and tilt. He can look up a good amount, and look down a good amount too. And it all sits on an articulated neck underneath his ascot, which gives it just that extra bit of movement he needs. The Y pose on 17 is super impressive. There's full rotation at the shoulder, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, swivel at the gauntlets, which makes sense since they detach, and hinge and swivel at the hand. Figuarts also switched up the butterfly joints for 17. He has sliding butterfly parts reminiscent of Rebel Tech, and they allow his arms to move forward a good amount, not that great backwards. And top and bottom torso articulation allow him to swivel, tilt, move forward that much, and when I tell you he can hit the splits, it ain't nothing to play with. He can kick forward that much, backwards a little bit, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, no boot swivel, but full articulation at the foot and toe articulation. Last but not least, he's got full rotation at the ascot knot. So articulation gets a 4.5 out of 5. Now, normally Figuarts' ab articulation isn't the best, and a lot of the figures suffer from that odd crotch piece, but this guy thankfully doesn't suffer from that at all. And that makes for a smooth and super fun time. Just a quick heads up to whoever may be watching, Figuarts Android figures are kinda hard to come by. So for the size comparisons, I won't have any. Also, there's not a lot of GT figures out yet, and the ones that are available, I don't want. But we'll make the best of what we got. Now that we got that out the way, let's do some size comparisons. First off, we have the Figuarts Kid Goku and Demoniacal Fit Untamed Power. Now, Demoniacal Fit's Goku is a little bit taller than the Figuarts version, but even with that height increase, 17 is still taller. So good on you. Next, we have the two people that kept Goku occupied while 17 was cooking. Here's the Figuarts Final Form Frieza that could use an update, but Figuarts doesn't really care about villains, and the Figuarts Perfect Cell. Copy and paste. Height-wise, works for me. He's taller than Frieza, shorter than Cell. The perfect android. Now that I think about it, Cell might be my favorite Z villain. Well, second. Maybe one day Tamashii will get around to remaking them. But probably not. And here's a couple of Figuarts' bigger and more articulated figures with the Dragon Ball Super Broly and Super Buu. Now, I talked about 17 being the most articulated, but Buu might have a case for himself too. He's got tiny foot pegs though, so he don't stand too good. Here's how he stacks up with some Mafex figures with the Hush Batman and Superman. And at this point, Figuarts are only really meant to scale with other Figuarts. So him being smaller than these two doesn't bother me too much. It is a drastic difference though. Here he is next to the Jada Toys M. Bison and Dalsim, and it's the same deal with the scaling, but I must say, 17 and M. Bison might have to be Gauntlet Brothers. Here he is next to the Diamond Select RP Colossus and the Marvel Legends VHS Wolverine. Why is that Colossus so big? And lastly, here's how he matches up with some of the Spider-Verse figures. Slender Gang stand up. So scaling for me gets a 4 out of 5. If we're just talking about Dragon Ball figures, 17 scales really well with everybody. Mostly. But the second you try to mix him in with other lines, his aura kind of fades and he's not as intimidating. So overall, the Figuarts Super Android 17 is a great figure. He looks amazing, his accessories are mostly pretty cool, his articulation is top tier, and he scales within the line. The very tiny line. Now he was a premium Bandai exclusive, which sucks, and he sold for $85. Semicolon, however, comma, he's currently sold out. Now you can get them on AliExpress and Hobby Model Store for around $70, but AliExpress is always a little bit shaky and I can't place an order on Hobby Model Store to save my life, so good luck. Pricing gets a 3 out of 5 for me, and that's mainly because Tamashi's best Dragon Ball figure, the legendary Super Saiyan Goku, has just as many accessories, maybe even more detail, and is actually the most articulated figure in the line. and he retails for $67.99, and he's more accessible. So the overall score lands at a 4.1, a good score for a really good figure. His scaling could be a little bit better, and he's a little pricey, but if you can overlook that, it's on the early and short list for top 10 of 2025. Everything on this guy just works. There's nothing that makes you go, man, they really gotta go back to the drawing board on this one. And that's phenomenal, because if it's one thing Figuarts hates to do, it's revisit their Dragon Ball villains. You will never see another Super 17 from Tamashii, and thankfully, you won't need to. That does it for this review. In the comment section, let me know which villain you want Tamashii to do over. Me, I need them to give us a brand new Perfect Cell. And seeing as though they still haven't given us a second form cell, that Perfect Cell redo may not happen for a long time. But until that time comes, don't forget to protect your peace, stay young at heart, and remember, we're all kind of collecting something. Peace.